A black gay Republican is sticking with former president and convicted criminal Donald Trump, even after facing racist and homophobic abuse from fellow Republicans. Now, Rob Smith is a conservative podcaster who published a column in Newsweek explaining that even though he is no longer a member of the Republican Party, he is still going to back Donald Trump in 2024. Now, he left after white nationalist groypers or fans of Nick Fuentes chanted slurs at him after at an event hosted by Turning Point USA. He said, quote, "My vote for Trump in the 2024 election was not guaranteed. I am a two-time Obama voter who did not vote in 2016, as I felt at the time that neither Trump nor Clinton had earned my vote. I voted for Trump in 2020, the first time I'd ever cast a vote for a Republican presidential candidate."
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite buying it, okay? But he continues, "Biden was never an option. RFK Jr. was eliminated as even a remote possibility very early on for me. One option was not voting, as I had done in 2016. That was a decision I thought long and hard about. I am done thinking." Well, there it is.
Oh my God! He admitted!
Trump has my vote in 2024. No matter what I think about the fringes, they're not the fringes, that are still very much active in the Republican Party, I cannot let my negative experience with a few color the larger issues that are facing America. As I mentioned, not exactly a fringe, okay? Policy-wise, the Republican Party has mainstreamed all of that, all right? All of it. But yes, this guy, Rob Smith, so what a noble sacrifice by Rob Smith, surrendering and making sure to vote for Donald Trump in 2024, despite the horrible attacks he received. And by the way, he did receive horrible, racist, homophobic attacks, and that's not cool. But it's not Democrats that were doing it. It was his fellow Republicans, his fellow right-wingers. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? And that kind of attitude is fostered by the very politicians that support the MAGA movement. That is a big part of MAGA movement. In fact, it is, look, here's the thing. It's mainly white resentment politics. That's what Donald Trump has campaigned on. White resentment politics. That's it. So it's not a surprise that that he has gotten a lot of racists to support him. Okay, it's simple as that. So anyway, I just want to note that I love how he admits that in order to support Trump, he's got to turn off his brain. Yeah, it's kind of what you have to do. And ignore the fact that a lot of his supporters do not believe that you are a human being. That's it. I mean, that's how they feel about people who are black and gay or trans, and then you get somebody who's black and gay, and then whoa, oh boy, that spells trouble there. Now, he then also goes on to cite some policy positions, which I think is interesting: border security, inflation, and the troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, Rob Smith is a former member of the military, so okay. Hold on. On policy positions, okay, Biden has actually been doing right-wing immigration policy. His recent actions on the border, for example, the executive action, quite draconian, okay, reducing the amount of asylum seekers. On inflation, now that is an issue for sure. I don't think Biden can unilaterally solve inflation, okay? There's not a whole lot you can do. He doesn't have a magic wand that says low inflation. All right. That said, yes, policy does matter. Economic policy, macroeconomic policy. Let's look at Trump's plan. Oh, right. Trump's plan would try to basically eliminate all income taxes and replace it with a tariff, which would make things more expensive and be much more regressive, as poor people will bear more of the costs for goods and services that are affected by these tariffs. But hey, at least rich people would get a tax cut. And now finally, the Afghanistan withdrawal. This is the dumbest, right? you realize that was Trump's idea. That was enacted in the final months of the Trump administration, and it's one of the things I actually give him credit for. All right? Now, I also give Biden credit for it because he went through with it. He's like, yeah, you know what? The Trump administration agreement to end the occupation of Afghanistan, I'll go along with that. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad we are no longer presiding a military force in that country. We shouldn't have been there in the first place. Should have never been an occupation. If you wanted to get bin Laden, okay, you get bin Laden and then you get the F out of there. All right? No reason to sit there and waste blood and treasure to try to nation build a nation that doesn't want you to nation build. All right? I mean, they called it the graveyard of empires for a frickin' reason. But here's the thing, right? So there's that. There's the policy differences that I just obliterated all of those reasons, okay? I think maybe the reason for him to be a Republican is tax cuts. That's really what it is for a lot of people. But here's the thing, right? He then argues, it is time for our politics to move beyond the idea that because someone looks or loves a certain way, they are somehow chained to liberal policies. Well, I would agree with that. It shouldn't be chained to liberal policies. Everyone should be allowed to love who they want to love and obviously be who they want to be without, racism, xenophobia, without being judged on the color of your skin. That would be wonderful. The people that are opposed to that? Republicans. So, I mean, the right wing constantly tries to deny gay people their civil rights. They also fought to deny black people civil rights. They tried to deny women civil rights. When it comes to the expansion of human rights, conservatives have always been the bad guy. They've always been on the wrong side of history. And ironically, Republicans did champion the rights of non-human entities. I'm talking about corporations, making sure that they have people speech rights, okay? More rights than human beings. In fact, they treat corporations better than most other humans. Now, he goes on to say, my experience of harassment was horrific in ways I haven't really fully discussed in depth. I believe it. And again, that's horrible what happened. That sucks. I don't like that. But then he says, as hard as I thought, as much as I've struggled, I still could not bring myself to run back to the Democrat Party. The lie the Democrats and liberals are somehow the party of love and compassion is easily exposed by their reaction to my incident of racial and homophobic harassment. What examples does he cite? None that I can see. In essence, that is why I made the decision to share the incident via my social media. I was not only exposing the white supremacists that have infiltrated the grassroots of the Republican Party. I like how he says infiltrated and not they were always just there because they've always been there. But the hypocrisy of the liberals who profess to love all black and LGBT people, as long as our beliefs don't make them too uncomfortable. All right, so look, the response that he got, I think from a lot of people is, what exactly did you expect from the Republican Party? The right wing hates you. They'll never accept you as a human being. We can disagree on economic policy, we can disagree on immigration policy, but I will never agree with the Republicans that you're not a human being and don't deserve basic human respect and dignity. And that's the difference here, right? The Republicans, the right wing is like, no, we agree with you on economic policy. We think tax cuts should go to the rich and all that stuff, but we also don't think you're a human being. That seems to be even if I was a free markets guy or hey, I'm a rich guy, I like having low taxes, that would still kind of be a deal breaker for me if I was black. It's still a deal breaker for me, but I don't have to deal with systemic racism or any kind of racism, to be honest, or homophobia or anything like that. I don't deal with any of that. But just because I don't have to deal with it doesn't mean I don't care about it. Doesn't mean I don't care when it happens to someone else. I do. At the end of the day, though, being gay is not a choice, obviously. Being black is not a choice. However, being a Republican, that is a choice. And if you're the former, it makes no sense for you to be the latter. Okay? Which is why, in order to support Republicans, as a black gay conservative, you kind of do have to turn off your brain. It's true. You have to turn that off. You have to ignore the policy positions of a lot of Republican politicians. You have to ignore a lot of Republican supporters and the things that they say. There's a lot of stuff that you have to ignore to be a black gay conservative. That's it. That's the reality. Now, at the end of the day, I think this guy's ultimately looking for an angle, looking for the grift, right? To be praised for his noble sacrifice by fellow Republicans. There's a lot of money to be made in right-wing politics as a disaffected liberal or someone who is a member of a minority group. And again, that's the big reality here, okay? But at the end of the day, even if they pay you in order to, spread BS against those groups that the minority groups that you're a part of, at the end of the day, they'll never accept you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.